I'm Sarina Fazan. Taking a risk, making a difference, and changing the course of your life. Remarkable stories from people defying the odds. You're listening to Trailblazer. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on Trailblazer. I'm Sarina Fazan. On Trailblazer, you hear from amazing people and their remarkable stories, and boy, do I have one for you today. Joining me right now is Zach Nicolaos. Zachary, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me here today.
Oh my gosh. So you're 24 years old. Mm-hmm. You live in Tampa, Florida, and thankfully you're safe, healthy now, but you recovered from COVID-19.
Yes, I did. It was a long 10 days, let me tell you.
Well, you know what? Just talk to me about that. Like, what happened? What happened, and could you tell immediately that you had the virus?
So right off the bat, I was kind of laid up in my apartment due to me being on a boat, and I kind of cut my foot open in the sand. So I really wasn't leaving my place. I was really kind of trying to stay at home and just leave my leg up and elevated.
And how long ago was that? Was that in the beginning of March, or when was that?
About midway through March, so about the 15th.
Okay, all right, okay.
And so...
And ouch on your foot, by the way.
Yeah, so I was just trying to keep it low-key. And starting on it was like about a Saturday, I started getting some symptoms. So the symptoms started with a sore throat, and from that it led into some phlegm and also like a really, really wet cough. And based on the symptoms that they were advertising for coronavirus, they were mentioning that it was normally a dry cough, or, it wasn't really a wet cough. And I really had a severe amount of phlegm. So I was like, this is something, it might not be coronavirus, I might just have the flu. So from going on about 2 days, it got a little bit worse. So I started feeling a little achy, a little tired, and a little sore, and then it sprung into a fever. So
how high was the fever? Do you remember?
I think the highest was like 103.
Okay.
So
high.
Pretty high. And normally I'm an individual that does not get sick. So I've never had the flu. Pretty adamant about getting my flu shot. So about 2 days after I had these symptoms, I was like, wow, I probably should reach out to, the Department of Health, try to schedule a coronavirus test. I mean, this is something that, I should get ahead of instead of, prolonging it and waiting it out.
And good for you, because once again, I mean, you're 24 years old and you're a recent grad of UT, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so good for you. So you think to yourself, I need to get ahead of this.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And, being in Florida, my family is not predominantly here. They're up in the Northeast. So I was trying to, be ahead of the curve here. So I went and I got tested on the 24th of March through one of the drive-through clinics that they offer here in South Tampa. It was through Baycare, and I had to get pre-screened before it too. So I had to place a phone call with the Department of Health, and then they transferred me to Baycare. But it was a preliminary screening to basically ask what symptoms I had. Was I in contact with someone who might have had the virus? And was, another factor was my friends came back from spring break. So they were traveling, somewhere in Europe and also somewhere in Mexico and, the Caribbean. So that's where I could have, maybe caught it.
Wow. Now, and I want to hear about the whole process, but just to stop right there, because a lot of people have talked about testing and, it was hard to get a test. Did you find that to be the case, or was it pretty simple?
The one roadblock I have is when I called into the Department of Health, I was on hold for about 45 minutes.
45 minutes?
So it was like by the time I got connected through Department of Health and then go to Baycare, it was about 45 minutes. And they took down my phone number and name immediately because they didn't want me to get disconnected after waiting that long.
Well, that was good.
And I'm thankful for that, because I did waste some time in my afternoon.
And you weren't feeling well on top of it, right? So it's hard to stay on hold, I think, at any point. But when you're sick, mm-hmm. Good for you that you did stay on hold. All right, so 45 minutes on hold. They take down your name and number because they don't want you to be disconnected.
Yes, and this is on Monday, March 23rd. So Monday, March 23rd, they were offering the drive-through clinics over by Raymond James Stadium, mm-hmm. over in their Baycare facility over there. And unfortunately, on that Monday, I couldn't get a test that day because they only did it a certain amount of hours. I'm pretty sure it was maybe 9 to 1 or 9 to noon. And at this point, I made the phone call at about 2:30. So they told me that they are offering them on Tuesday, March 24th. So I was like, oh, wait, that'd be great. I'll go first thing in the morning. They basically told me I could come anytime between the range of the hours that they were offering. And I got right in. I sat in my car with many other individuals that were sitting in their cars. I would say there was probably about 100 cars at 9 a.m. and that's when it opened.
You're kidding.
No, it was backed up all the way down past, like halfway past Raymond James Stadium.
Wow. So were you surprised to see the number of people?
I was shocked at first to see the number of people that were maybe trying to be proactive and get tested. But then I was also thinking, based on our numbers that they were advertising, you know, that Hillsborough County has been having as positive cases, I was like, no way this many people have it. You know, maybe they do, but I don't think these numbers are going to come to fruition here. So.
Wow. Okay. So then what happened?
So then I went through the drive-through clinic. I pulled right up. You know, I was pre-authorized due to me making my phone calls ahead of time, which many individuals, I don't think were doing that. So it was slowing down the pace that they were taking people because people had to fill out forms, paperwork, get their insurance info, and stuff like that. So I kind of breezed right through it and went right to the front. I sat in my car. I rolled down the window. These people were suited up with face masks and everything. And what they did was I tilted my head back in my car. They took this about 4 to 5 inch swab. They stuck it up my nose. They hit something, and they pulled it right back out. It was less than about 5 seconds.
Wow.
Yes.
And then how soon did you find out that you had a positive diagnosis?
So I basically recovered for the most part before I got my results back.
You are kidding.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so you take that test on March the 24th.
It's a Tuesday.
A Tuesday. And when exactly did you get the results back?
The next Monday.
The next Monday. So by that time,
yeah.
Was that frustrating for you?
It was frustrating because I have family and friends that are up in New York, and they were getting test results within 48 hours, 72 hours. They were getting results way faster. And I know other individuals, such as maybe my friends, that came back from spring break. They came, you know, back into the Tampa area, and they went and got tested due to being over in Spain and other areas that were hotspots at this time.
Right.
And they were waiting for up to 2 weeks.
2 weeks to get the results.
So maybe my pre-authorization helped in terms of like feeding me along, and the data was already in the system. But like my friends were asymptomatic, but you know it took so long for them to get their test results back.
And you know, and that is not very comforting because you need to know. When I say you, people need to know. You know, especially if they have a positive diagnosis, to stay away. I mean, I know we're social distancing and we're doing that anyway, but at this point, so you don't know your diagnosis, but you're not feeling well. So what do? You stay alone at your apartment because you live by yourself, right, Zach?
Yes. So unfortunately, this is the time period that I don't have roommates, and I live by myself. So it was difficult for me to sit there all day by myself, you know, not knowing what's going on. Am I actually sick? So this was a Tuesday. What I did was I went back home. You know, they told me when I left the clinic, you know, stay in your house, stay in your place for the next 14 days, like quarantine, like 7 to 10 days, you know, at least. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. Like that's what I have been doing. I've already been staying in my place. I haven't left. And from there, I just continued to take over-the-counter medication, you know, to try to help myself feel better. And one day I'd feel a little bit better. You know, my symptoms would alleviate a little bit, and then from there they'd come right back. Like maybe in the morning I'd feel great and like I'd take a conference call, you know, I'd be working. And then by like maybe 4 in the afternoon, I'd be like, whoa, I got hit by a truck. Like I kind of relapsed a few times, and I was doing some research on it. And it seems like some other individuals were also experiencing that as well.
So bless your heart, you're an operations analyst, so you were still trying to work.
Yes, I still was working. I was still sending emails. I was still sitting on meetings. You know, I just sounded like really nasally.
Oh my gosh, bless your heart. So tell us though, during that period, because I have talked to people who have been, you know, who have recovered from COVID-19, the coronavirus, and most of them have had very mild symptoms, but you did not, correct?
Yeah, I mean, based on talking to some individuals that I know that have had it, you know, my symptoms seemed a little bit more severe than theirs. And I'm not just saying that because I was like nervous and I already survived it. I'm saying that because I experienced all the symptoms. Like there were some like minor symptoms, or not minor, but the regular symptoms, which were like fever, cough, you know, chest pains. And I was like, okay. And then mine went into like everything under the sun. Like I was feeling like weak and I just had no motivation or drive.
Really?
So I was like, maybe it is the flu or something like that. And I kept talking to my other friends that I have that are nurses, and they're like, you know, maybe you do have the flu. You know, you really haven't left your place. You haven't been in contact with anyone. Maybe it is the flu. And
looking back though, do you know, are there distinct differences though between the flu and your symptoms with COVID-19? Now that you can, see clearly, think clearly.
Yeah, so I've actually never had the flu, but knowing like what I experienced, like my chest was very tight, like to the point where the right side of my chest was like compressed. So like I would literally sit in a chair, or sit on the couch, and I'd be like this, kind of like hung over, like leaning over.
Right.
And from that point, I was like, wow, something's up. Something really is up. And this was about Wednesday, Thursday. I started getting these really bad chest pains, and I was like, wow, like at this point, I already have a fever. I'm burning up. I'm sweating. I'm dying from this, it feels like.
Yeah.
But from that point, I was like, I'm just going to take over-the-counter medicine, hopefully it will help alleviate some of these things. And my chest just kept getting tight to the point where in the middle of the night, it was about 2 a.m, I woke up. It might have been like Thursday or Friday. And my chest was just, I felt like I was burning up. I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. And like, I'm a young individual. I don't expect to have a heart attack in the meantime, anytime soon. But it just felt like my chest was coming in, and it was like, I couldn't take deep breaths. It was just short and narrow breaths. So I was taking aspirin in the middle of the night. I was like, I need to prevent a heart attack. I was popping a few aspirin.
Wow. And you were telling me before, and I didn't realize that you never even had the flu. But I know you said you were very diligent about always getting a flu shot. But you've also told me before you are very healthy. You take care of yourself. So this was really surprising that you got the virus in the first place.
Definitely. And watching like the daily press briefings that, the White House puts on, like washing your hands, social distancing, whatever you touch, wipe it down with a wipe. I made sure that I had the cleaning, like it's like fantastic cleaning products, I think fantastic kills the coronavirus. It's one of the cleaners that can kill it. So, I bought that, and I did not go to the store and buy these things. Like I actually had them all delivered, dropped off my door. So like I was really doing the whole social distancing of not interacting with anyone.
And you still were diagnosed.
Yeah, so.
Or you caught the virus. So during the time, and gosh, was there a point when you were going through it, and I asked you this question before, and I hope it doesn't come across as insensitive or anything, but did you think that you would survive it, or were you afraid that you would not survive it?
I was worried that I was not going to survive it in the middle of the night when I was waking up. And like my chest was tight. At this point, the NyQuil I was taking was worn off. It's already been 4 hours, so I was like, wow, my symptoms are full flush, like hitting me right now. I go, I don't know what to do, like I'm by myself. Like what do I do? So I just like kind of try to be positive and stuff like that. And just, I was FaceTiming my friends, and they were like take care of yourself. Like, just like, it was like really positive to have interactions with my friends through FaceTime. Like that's something we didn't have 10 years ago.
Right.
So it's just something that,
we take it for granted, honestly. Right.
We really do. And especially going through like a pandemic and where everyone's stuck at home, like being able to see your close family and friends through FaceTime really helped like get through things.
And what we've heard about this virus so much is that, people do go through it alone. And here you are, you're going through it alone. And even if your family was here, they probably would not even really had a chance to see you anyway. But did you tell your family what was happening? I mean, I'm a mom, so I can tell. I can tell you that if I was in New York and knowing that my son was here in Tampa, suffering through this, I would be having a heart attack.
Yeah. So I guess you could say the first like 4 days of symptoms, like I was like, Mom, I think I have like a common cold. Like what do you think? Like I don't think I have coronavirus. Like I have a sore throat and a cough. Like I get that once a year. Like what I mean? That's just normal for flu season. Just for anyone to have. So she's like, oh, okay, just like monitor, just take your like Dayquil and stuff like that. And like, you'll get through it. Take your multivitamins, like you'll be fine. So I was like, okay, cool. And then Monday, like I really wasn't feeling well. So I was like, I'm going to go get tested. And I think like it really dawned on my parents that I was going to get tested. Like, oh, he might have it, so we'll see.
Right. And so, and we talked about how you didn't get the results until a week later. Do you think if you'd gotten the results sooner, that would have changed anything at all?
I think if I had the results sooner, I would have been a little more anxious. Just to kind of put a name on what I had, that would definitely make me a little more anxious and nervous. That like, wow, it might take a turn for the worse. Like, I don't know. We see on the news that, the death count is going up. Like, that's nerve-wracking. Like, that incites, fear to some individuals, especially people that are in sensitive groups, like senior citizens or individuals, that might have pre-existing conditions, so. Well,
thankfully you recovered, but you've gone, Zach, one step further now. You committed yourself to helping other people. Tell us about that. You are now a convalescent plasma donor. And for those who don't really know that much about convalescent plasma right now, there is no vaccine for the coronavirus. So they're saying that convalescent plasma really is the key, or is the biggest sign of hope, or the biggest hope for people who are critically ill with the coronavirus. How did you know that, and how did it come to be that you became a convalescent plasma donor?
So to start off, I would say last Sunday, my friend reached out to me, one of the individuals I went to grad school with, and she was like, hey, my uncle's in the hospital. He has coronavirus, COVID-19, and he is in need of a plasma transfusion. Like, would you be willing, maybe, if you guys are the same blood type, to donate plasma? And at this point, like, I was like, yes, like, I'll definitely help out. Like, just, me being healthy, recovered, I'd love to help out and have people suffer less than what I had to endure. So I said, yes, I definitely can do it. She sent me the link through One Blood to sign in and basically come forward and donate my plasma. So I put all my information in, sent that through, and then from there, One Blood contacted me and hooked and set everything up for me within 2 days. So.
Wow, so very fast.
Very fast.
But it ended up that your friend's uncle, your friend's loved one, did not need that plasma, and you knew that before even donating plasma. Why did you decide to donate anyway?
So I already signed up, and I thought, I might as well help out individuals while I can. I'm not going to, flake and not show up or not go. I was like, I already made a mission that I'm going to do this. I'm going to follow through on my word. So that's really what I went through and did. I just wanted to, help individuals. And I knew that if someone could get my plasma and have less severe symptoms than I endured, then I thought, it'd be a great positive benefit.
And how was the experience for you?
So I thought that the One Blood experience was fantastic. Normally when I get my finger pricked at the doctor's office, or I just have like an annual blood draw, I usually pass out. So funny enough, the phlebotomists were fantastic. I didn't have any bruising or anything like that. Like, they really nurtured me, walked me through the process. And this is my first time ever donating blood, let alone plasma. So wow. I really was in for a treat. I didn't know what to expect. But I think the phlebotomists did a great job. I had no bruising, no bleeding after and stuff like that. They really took care of me the whole 9 yards.
And then to actually see that bag of plasma, how did that make you feel?
It made me feel great. I saw this huge, like, yellow-orange bag of plasma. I was like, wow, like, this is going to go and help potentially up to 3 individuals, through plasma transfusions. And I was like, wow, this is truly awesome. It was a pretty big bag. If anyone's ever seen a plasma transfusion bag, I thought I might have lost 10 pounds, but it was awesome to see.
So what would you say to other people out there that, may have gone through the coronavirus and thankfully have recovered and now could be in a position that you're in? What would your message be?
I would say go for it, and I would say donate plasma. It's something that, is so selfless and just something so easy that you can really do. And it took less than an hour, and like an hour of your day to give back and help 3 people that, could use that hour, So I definitely think that people should go forward and donate blood, and I could see myself being a future donor again, donating plasma. Which
is amazing. And Zach, I mean, is it crazy for you to think, okay, we're all living right now and we're making history, but you really are part of the history as a recovered patient and now a life-saving donor. I mean, this is something that you will probably be sharing with, your kids, your grandkids, loved ones for years to come.
Yeah, I'd love to show them this podcast. You can reiterate what happened in 2020.
I know, absolutely. So what would your message be to people that are going through the coronavirus right now? What would your message be to them?
My message would be positive and, just, take it day by day and, stay on your medication and your over-the-counter meds, to get and alleviate some of the symptoms. And you should get through this. I was really worried that, this is a long, daunting 10 days that I endured these symptoms, but there's light at the end of the tunnel and it's positive at the end, so.
And were you worried, and I hope this question does not come across as insensitive or anything, but were you worried that you would have, people would not want to be around you, after knowing that you had the coronavirus, only because there's so much fear, right? There's a lot of it, there's fear, uncertainty, and sometimes a lack of knowledge as well.
Definitely a lack of fear around the COVID-19, but I think that people are coming around to it. Seeing that I recovered, I was out and donating blood, and stuff like that. Yes, we should still be social distancing. Yes, maybe there's a potential that I could catch it again, and have lesser symptoms. We don't know. These are all the unknowns that are coming from this virus. So my friends a lot of them are taking precautionary steps in terms of, really social distancing, not seeing me besides FaceTime. It's not a bad thing as of right now. We will get through this. I mean, as you know, Florida is moving towards phase 1 of reopening. So yeah, it's turning around.
And as a recovered patient of COVID-19, in your opinion, do you feel that Florida is taking the appropriate steps?
I do. I really wasn't watching the local news as much in the beginning of this process of coronavirus and the outbreak and the flare-up in Miami and stuff like that. But what I did start looking at is like what they're doing, and stuff in terms of nursing homes, in terms of what they're closing, what they want to reopen. And I really do think that Florida has been doing a good job. I read an article yesterday that Florida made sure that the nursing homes were closed down, that people were not having contact with outside people and stuff like that. And that will really help protect the older generation that might be in nursing homes.
I think Florida is ahead of the game. In fact, I was listening to a press conference the other day. I was putting together a piece on a press conference, and Some of the fire officials and the police chiefs were saying that we're so prepared for hurricanes that we just know as a community and as a state the proper steps to take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely think that we are in a good position right now, and based on what the White House press briefing said the other day about what they found out about the virus in terms of, indirect sunlight, can help kill it, and bring down the half-lives. And also what they were talking about was UV light, can kill it, and using just Clorox bleach, on a counter can kill the bacteria on like a hard, non-porous surface.
Yeah.
So these are definitely things that I think that will help bring Florida around to bring us back.
Well, on a closing note, do you think that this is definitely, you're only 24, you've got a long life to live. Do you think this definitely has changed your life though, Zach?
Definitely. I would say definitely. I really am a positive individual, but this really makes me more happy just to be alive, right now. I got through this, a little bump in the road, but, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm positive that I can make an impact in the future too.
Well, thank you so much. And again, thank you so much for being a donor and being a lifesaver, literally a lifesaver. Thank you so much, Zach Nicolaos, for joining us. He's from Tampa. Well, you're actually not from Tampa. You're from New York.
Yes.
You came here for grad school, and you loved it so much you stayed.
Yes. It's very hard not to love Tampa, Florida, with the weather, the beaches. I mean, a few more things we can add on.
Yeah, absolutely. I love always giving Tampa a plug. Thank you so much for joining us, Zach.
Of course.
And thank you so much, everyone. In closing, paraphrasing one of my favorite poets, Ralph Waldo Emerson, go where there's no path and leave a trail. Thanks so much for listening to Trailblazer, everyone. I'm Sarina Fazan.